Welcome to our three-line panelists this week. We're joined by Rebecca Latham. She is CEO of Girl Scouts of New Mexico. And attorneys Sophie Martin and Ed Perea. Both, we really great to see you all virtually anyway, as we're taping here on this snow day this week. All right, money is clearly the weapon the state hopes does the most damage in the fight against crime. Millions of dollars are tabbed for police departments around the state, both for pay raises and expanded recruiting. A recent study from the Legislative Finance Committee suggests the state is failing to create the certainty of arrests shown to create a significant deterrent to crime. Is addressing that fact the main priority for the governor and lawmakers? And Sophie, let me toss that to you too. It's a very complicated question, but let's just start broadly here. What's your thought there?
Yeah, I mean, clearly crime is a top priority for the governor in this session. I mean, remember that that we're in one of those years where the focus of the legislature is pretty tight, and that the governor can ask for additional initiatives beyond sort of the economic. But so when you say money is the tool, well, this is the money session, right? And so we would expect that. But there is quite a lot coming forward a lot of it from Democrats, which I think makes sense given the governor's priorities. And it covers a broad range of areas from, on one end, looking at pretrial detention and what's happening under that constitutional amendment that was approved several years ago to protection of judges in New Mexico and trying to keep crime from subverting the judicial process overall. So we have a lot to look at this year.
And it's going to start to parse out here this week and this weekend, and next week's going to be very busy for sure. Hey, Ed, included in House Bill 152 is a one-time payment of $10 million to Bernalillo County, and some of that money has been quoted going towards behavioral health issues. And the county tells KRQE specifically it would fund training for officers to better respond to mental health crises. It would also fund more health clinics. We've been waiting for this for a long time here in the county. In fact, voters approved some money for this some years ago. It hasn't really been spent. So my question, is this the right school of thought when it comes to finding long-term solutions to the crime problem?
There are multiple component parts to address in the issue within the criminal justice system and those that support the criminal justice system, and definitely mental health, behavioral health. Those are critical issues, especially when you look at some of the data that I've seen out there, that a huge percentage, I'm thinking in the area of 60 to 70% of those incarcerated had some mental health issues. So I think if you're looking at those kind of numbers, that in itself is telling a story that if we're able to reduce some of the mental health issues that lead to criminal behavior, that it may have an overall reduction in crime. I think that's, and I don't want to say a good start, because this is something that our community and communities across the state and country have been working on, and we realize that that's a problem. So this is just another piece that I think will help contribute to our efforts to start to reduce crime. So I think it's a positive step.
Hey, Rebecca, interestingly, there's a controversial tweak to the pretrial detention process. We've talked about that a lot here on the show, certainly. It's made it through one committee. That's despite some skepticism. The bill would force defendants to prove they aren't a danger to society when requesting pretrial release. Boy, this is a big one for some folks, and especially for conservatives. Is this too much of a risk, given it could be ruled unconstitutional, especially?
Well, I think it's important to note that that this is, House Bill 5 is a bipartisan bill, and so they're working really closely together to try and get ahead and acknowledge that there are some constitutional issues with this bill, and even going so far as to saying, potentially making a constitutional amendment, taking it to the voters so that it has, if they make changes to this, to pretrial detention, that it has a much more, a better chance of actually lasting. Whatever they come up with, I think, that it's great that there's huge packages of crime bills. A lot of them are so much about, increasing the penalties for this or that, they're larger deterrents. But in New Mexico, catch and release is a household term, not like Tingley Beach catch and release. We talk about catch and release for dangerous criminals. So this is something that is widely known in New Mexico. It's not just us that are talking about it. It's criminals that know there's no teeth, that they're going to get in and they're going to get right back out again. I heard Raul Torres speak a few, I guess probably about a year and a half ago, and he gave the parallel to parenting a toddler. If your toddler does something that they know is bad, and you say, okay, I'm gonna punish you right, I'm just gonna take this toy away, and then you come back 10 months later and try to punish the toddler for that offense, it doesn't work. That's not how parenting works, and that's not how criminal justice should work. So I think it's really important that we acknowledge that there are some other things out there, but I think we've got to find and pressure our legislators to find solutions that will work right now.
Mm-hmm. Rebecca, let me ask you, keep you here for a quick sec. Is the idea of stricter gun laws you just mentioned, gun possession charges especially, is this a meaningful deterrent? This is a big debate over years that criminals really don't care what the deterrence is to having a gun. They just want a gun for whatever reason. What's your opinion on that?
So never having been charged with a criminal gun thing, I can't speak for everyone, but
Sure.
To me, it feels like, what good is the larger penalty? What good is the stricter penalty if they don't think it's going to stick? If they don't think that there is really a danger that they are going to be arrested and put into jail and separated from their families, and all of the things that the criminal justice system was just the penal system was set up to deter. If they don't think they're going to get caught, then what difference does it make? A first degree this or a fourth degree that? If it's not going to stick, then I personally, I don't think it's enough of a deterrent. But again, that's just me.
Sure, that's why we have you. It's your personal opinion, no worries there. Sophie, interestingly, the movement in recent years on police reform, I'm very interested in your opinion on this. Are any of these measures, how much should Democrats here locally be leaning into that at this point, under this idea that we're now tackling crime? Do those two things fit together?
I think they do. And actually the bill that Ed was talking about earlier regarding mental health support and support of our social services and behavioral health, I think that is actually a signal. It does include training for police officers, and so it feels to me like that's part of a movement toward, yes, intervention in how policing happens, how policing works, with more of a more nuanced view of what's happening in the criminal justice system. So I'm not 100% sure I've answered your question, but I definitely think that bill in particular is geared toward what a number of reformers are trying to get to.
Ed, let me take the same question. Defund the police. Let's just put it out there. All the things that have been out there in the public's purview for a long time. Then we do this big turnaround, and it's time to get tough on crime. And I'm saying this is how some people hear this out there, so to speak. Again, same question to Sophie. How do you reconcile those two things?
Well, and I think when you talk about defunding the criminal justice, not defunding police, I think you really need to define your terms as to exactly what that means. The police need resources to do their job, to be effective to do their job, and so defunding in itself, in its pure term, to take money away is something that I'm sure a lot of law enforcement agencies would reject, because it then doesn't allow them to do the work that they're tasked to do, which brings up another question: what are they tasked to do? And sometimes they're being overtasked, and so we need to continue to take a look at what law enforcement is expected to do and create a balance, and maybe continue to parse out some of those tasks. And I think the Mayor Keller and his team has created this community service agency that is trying to do just that. But I think when it comes to crime prevention, I think there is a balance. Crime prevention is probably the key component. If we're effective at preventing crime, there really isn't much need for enforcement and prosecution. So prevention is going to be a key component. And we follow this prevention, intervention, enforcement, and prosecution. The more we prevent, the less we'll need resources on the other end. But right now we're in a pickle because we haven't done a great job at preventing crime.
Right. Rebecca, give you the last cut at this. I'm curious. kind of looking ahead a little bit, is there a danger for Democrats if what gets passed out of this session just isn't tough enough for a lot of people?
Well, we are seeing an influx of non-New Mexicans moving into New Mexico because they see that we are a superior state to live in as far as quality of life goes. And so, like it or not, they're coming from other places outside of New Mexico, and they will register to vote here. And if they, as well as those of us who have lived in the state and been born and raised in the, like overwhelmingly, we will get to a point, if we haven't already gotten there, that lawmakers, elected officials will be called to task for not figuring this out. We've had this crime problem. This is not new. And ultimately, as we've seen even in local school board elections recently, like big flips, we will see flips across the board if the public feels like it's not being addressed effectively.
Right. Good point. Good last point there.